Mhm.
As the clock strikes 7, the vibes alive. Inner circles here, where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come one, come all, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a Circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Inner Circle podcast. Today is Tuesday, June 17th, and we have a great show for you tonight. So, welcome to this special edition. And our topic tonight is the new travel ban. As you all know, if you are immigrant, you've probably been following this. Trump 2.0, since Trump 2.0, he's been busy with so many policies. So tonight, our topic is the new travel ban, travel ban 2.0. So we are not just focusing on policy tonight, right? We are talking about real people, real families, real future, and how this new travel ban is shaking the very fabric, right? The very core of the immigrant experience here in America, right? So tonight, folks, you can join the conversation by putting a comment in the chat. I also call our number 952-594-5154. There is a topic I think that is dear to many immigrants, especially the affected countries. You know what I mean? There's so many countries, that are affected and potentially that might be affected in the next 60 days. So tonight, we're going to be dissecting that. We're going to be diving into this very important topic. So you can join the conversation. What is your thought? What do you think? Is this a good thing? I know the administration, as I've always said here, the administration ran on immigration, and they have been coming hard when it comes to immigration. I feel, right? Immigrants are sort of on attack in America these days, right? And stuff like that. So many policies, right? The harsh immigration crackdown, the travel bans, the visa restrictions, all, I mean, so much been going on. It's like when it comes to immigration, right? They are flooding the zone. It's like, it's hard to keep up. So tonight we here, Sacco Podcast, we'll be looking at this new travel ban, how is it affecting, the various countries, those immigrants, and how is it like affecting the immigrant experience, right? As an immigrant, it's like how is it affecting us, and what do you think about it? Okay, living in America, what does the current moment, means to you and how you coping with it? So, but folks, it is the Inner Circle Podcast, a growing movement. We are bringing topics like this, and for us, our focus is the diaspora, right? Our experience here in America, our the things we are going through here, right? Our life experiences and things like that. So that's what we here at Inner Circle Podcast. We try to amplify, elevate, and empower the immigrant voice, right? It's like that's what we try to do, right? And this new travel ban is really affecting us, especially folks from Africa and the Middle East, and then from the Caribbean, right? This new travel ban media targeting them. So join the movement. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, growing, it's growing. Follow us on Facebook. wherever you get your podcast, LinkedIn, Apple Podcast, Spotify, we are all over. So please join us. But tonight, folks, again, our topic is the new travel ban that went into effect. So in early June, right? I think it was so I posted some statistics here, right? On June 4th, Trump signed an executive order, and then on June 9th at 12:01 a.m., this executive order kind of went into effect, right? That's like affecting mainly, right? Affecting mainly countries from Africa, right? Like so, the travel ban that was issued, right, affected about 12 countries. These are the 12 countries: Afghanistan, Chad, Congo, yeah, Democratic Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Myanmar, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. Those are full ban, meaning like whether they cannot get immigrant visa or non-immigrant visa, right? I think there are some exception here, but just looking at the list, man, you know what I mean? As an African, kind of it's like these 12 countries mainly, right? Chad is an African country, obviously, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Libya, Somalia, and Sudan, right? It's like what's going on here? It's like media, these are African countries, right? The administration have their rationale for banning these countries, right? 12 countries. There's no visa of any kind I've been issued right now in these 12 countries. Not at all. No visa. So if you want to come, if you are in any of these 12 countries, you are trying to get an immigrant visa, or non-immigrant visa. There's no visa right now that's been issued in these 12 countries, right? This travel ban basically it's like Trump 1.0, right? His first travel ban was basically about uh majority Muslim countries, majority Muslim countries, that's what the first travel ban was about. But now this is kind of a beyond that. It has gone beyond that to target countries that, according to the administration, right, they have, I mean, the risks of terrorism. I mean, all kind of reasons, right? They have given for banning these 12 countries, right? So it's like full visa ban. I mean, obviously there are kind of exceptions to that, but I mean, that is huge, right? That is huge. 12 countries that are totally banned from, coming their citizens coming to the U.S. Imagine, right? If you're from Chad, as an immigrant living in the United States, you cannot bring your family here. You cannot, what I mean, and stuff like that. Even if your family were issued visa, it's like you wondering, okay, can they come? Can they still come? So it's like it is it is really, really sad, right? It is really, really affecting real families, affecting people livelihood as an immigrant. Just thinking about that, right? Imagine, I immigrated here in 19, in the late 90s, right? If at the time, I mean, my country was going to be the one is like, I mean, there was a visa or travel ban, affecting me. And what would that be today? I mean, so that's how these families, folks that are in these countries, right, are kind of those are the things right now they are going through. No visa, um, immigrant or non-immigrant visa, they are not allowed to come to the US, And beyond these 12 countries, right, there are additional 7 countries that have a partial ban. You have Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, wow, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. These are countries that have a partial restrictions, right? So they cannot get a tourist visa or student or whatever, until they can work on whatever the administration fees that I mean they need to work on. So man, these are tough times. As I said, I have been saying on this show many, many times that it feels like the immigrant community in the US right now, especially from like poor countries, right? Because most of these countries on this travel list, most of them are kind of a poor countries. Some of them are experiencing civil war, like Yemen, like Sudan, some of them are going through some terrible, terrible situations, right? But now their citizens cannot come here either as refugees, either as immigrant or non-immigrant and things like that. So it is so, so, so tough, to even imagine as an immigrant. I feel right now, as I've said here many times, the immigrant community seems to be under attack. And it's like coming from all over, it's either flooding the zone, right? As I said, this travel ban, the harsh immigration crackdown. It's like first the administration said it was only a crackdown was only going to be for high criminals, criminal those with criminal records. But if you have been following the news, if you have been, listening to the news, everything that has been going on is like everybody, anybody, ICE, I mean, Immigration Enforcement Agency has been mandated, right? They have been mandated to arrest 3,000 people a day. Can you imagine that? So 3,000 illegal immigrants a day. That's what they are being mandated or asked to arrest every day. Imagine. So it's like a lot of fears in a lot of immigrant community as an immigrant, wherever you are. Even sometimes legal immigrants, have been caught up in this whole limbo. So it's a tough time to be an immigrant in America. We are going through some tough times. It's like, as I said, it's travel ban. There's harsh immigration crackdowns. There's rhetoric against immigrants. And as an immigrant, it feels like, why? Why so much? I mean, why is it like, why is there so much hostility towards us? What did we do? I mean, where did things go wrong? I understand, obviously, right? The administration ran again, the administration, one of the, I mean, during the campaign, right, is that the campaign that when it came, if they were to come to power, I mean, they were definitely going to have a harsher immigration enforcement. They were going to change the immigration system, and that's what they have been doing. But a lot of folks, including myself, yeah, right, I didn't think they were going to go this far, right? And they have been ready going this far. It's like going after, if the intention is just to, okay, let's assume, like you said, you want to get rid of illegal immigrants from America, right? Those that enter here illegally, or maybe those that have criminal records. But why are you stopping? Even like, why are you making it harder for even for folks here to immigrate to the United States legally, right? Why is it being so hard? Why is the administration making it harder for folks to come to America or legally? It's okay to get rid of the criminals from here, but you know, it's tough like to ban 12 countries and then partially ban another seven, for them not to immigrate to the United States, right? As I said, as an immigrant, I find it hard uh, to swallow. I mean, it's tough. It's like so many families are affected by this, right? I mean, some like Somalia is on this list, right? Minnesota, where I'm at, we have a huge Somalian population here, and to imagine that they cannot, send for their families cannot, whether immigrant or non-immigrant visa, they cannot come here. It's so sad. It's like, so just imagine the family, the toll it's having on these families, right? The Somalian community, these various communities and stuff like that. So it's just so much unimaginable. But that's the time we live in, folks, and that's what election have consequences, right? As it says, like sometimes when politicians are telling you something, so oh yeah, they're not going to do it, or they might not do it. You overlook them, but election have consequences. And the Trump 2.0, right? They ran as that they were going to come very hard on immigration, and that's what has been happening, and stuff like that. So on June 4th, Trump signed a new travel ban, and on June 9th, it went into effect. So the 12 countries that I just put on the screen, they cannot get either immigrant or non-immigrant visa to come to the United States. Imagine that, folks. If you have family, if you have family members in any of these countries, right? Like Guinea, I mean, Equatorial Guinea is on this list. Eritrea, I mean, these countries that many of these countries they are going through some tough times, and the fact that their poor citizens cannot, don't have the opportunity anymore to immigrate to the United States, the land of opportunity, the greatest country in the world, right? They cannot come here. It's so sad. So, but that's the current environment we live in. And that's what we are discussing tonight, folks, the new travel ban. How is it affecting the immigrant community, what I mean, and stuff like that. Not only are they cracking down harshly on immigration, but they're also banning folks from coming to America. They're also banning folks from coming to America. So it's a tough time to be an immigrant. But as I've always said, like I said yesterday, when our remembering Melissa Hardman, like I still believe in the promise of America. I think this country, despite everything that is happening right now, especially for us immigrants. I mean, despite everything that's happening right now, I think this too shall come to pass, right? This too shall come to pass. So we as immigrants, we just need to weather the storm. It's a storm right now, right? It's like there's this negative energy, there's this negative narrative against the immigrant community, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Whether you are legal or not, I feel like, I mean, things have been thrown at immigrants of whether you are citizen or non-citizen or you are a green card holder. I feel that when our brothers and sisters are being attacked, I think it's affecting all of us. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Whatever your status is. So it's something we all need to take into consideration. You might feel, oh yeah, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't matter. But banning folks from 12 countries from entering the United States, you know what I mean? I think these things have real life consequences. You know, it's like a lot of families when they come here, they try to send for their maybe their wives, their relatives and things, their kids. And now like to see that folks from these 12 countries don't have the opportunity to do that. I think these things have real life, consequences. They have real life impact. These are real families that have been affected. I know like some of us say, oh yeah, we don't pay attention to politics. Those things don't affect us. Man, yeah, for every one of us, because I think if we are all trying to make this world a better place, right? We live in a world sometimes we are so caught up in our own little world, right? It's like, but if we want to see this world a better place, one thing that affects one person, I think it affects all of us, right? And as a African immigrant living in this country, it has been so good to me to see that folks from many African countries, their citizens cannot come here anymore. To me personally, it's not right. It's disturbing, but whatever the rationale is, right? That's the current environment we live in right now. And then beyond that, folks from potentially, partially, 7 countries, right? They cannot get student visa, they cannot get tourist visa. Togo is on this list. So this is a tough one, folks. So again, our topic tonight is the new travel ban 2.0. I mean the Trump 2.0 travel ban and things like that. So, but with there are a couple of exceptions to this new travel ban, stuff like that, right? I think it's cool. Like if you are lawful permanent resident, obviously, it's also there's also a risk here, right? Let's assume like you travel back, maybe you have a green card, right? You travel back to go visit your people back home. Who knows, right? It's like there's so many we have here so many stories, happening at board of entries, right? And things like that. Or even dual nationals where they are exempted, diplomas, pre-approved visas, or certain ISVs and athletes in major sporting events. But who knows, man? We live in uncertain times as immigrants. We live in uncertain times. You don't no one know what's happening because it says like this administration, right? If you understand, if you know, it's like when it comes to Trump, right? They like to flood the zone. So it's that when it comes to immigration, they have been really doing that, flooding the zone. Right? It's like I said, there's the harsh immigration crackdown, there's the travel ban, there's the student visa cancellation. It's like it's like so much happening. It's like it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up. But that's the current environment we live in, folks. Travel ban here and there, and things like that. So you can contribute to the conversation tonight. If you are a citizen, if you're someone from one of these countries, right? It's like how are you feeling tonight? How is it affecting you? If you're from Afghanistan, Chad, Congo, how is it affecting you, folks? That's the discussion tonight. The new travel ban is like America. It's a seems to be a whole different environment for immigrants these days, right? As I said, immigrants are kind of on a constant attack, here and there. It's just like one thing to another. The harsh crackdown, and then now this new travel ban. And beyond that, another news that folks I think that we are hearing, and I just came out, right? Beyond these 36 or 12 countries that are fully banned and then 7 that are partially banned, right? There's a potential 36 countries, that are currently being monitored and they're given 60 days, right? 60 days, right? To kind of put their act together. 60 days. Can you imagine? It's like, sooner or later, you know what I mean? I mean, sooner or later, there's going to be, I mean, it's really going to get big. You know what I mean? It's like some of the countries on the list, man. I mean, even my very own Liberia or country that I immigrated from, right? These are notable countries that are currently on the list. It's like Egypt, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, Senegal, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, Gabon, Cameroon, Djibouti, Ivory Coast, Malawi, Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania. Man, all these African countries, including my very own Liberia, right? These are potential countries. If they don't put their act together, according to the administration, in the next 60 days, there might be ban. It could either be a partial ban or full ban. So it's like, folks, it's not it's not easy. I mean, even talking about this is not easy. I mean, imagine, right? It's like still have family and friends in Liberia. If Liberia unfortunately end up on the travel ban list, I mean, it's like, I mean, what's going on here, right? I mean, what is going on here, folks? What is going on here? It's like, I mean, it's a tough time, as I said, to be an immigrant. Uh, Thousands of families, right, cannot unite with loved ones. Thousands, student visa from places like potentially Nigeria, even Liberia, Sudan, Eritrea, like it's not possible because of this travel ban. It's not possible because of this travel ban. But what can we do as an immigrant community? What can we do, right? I think, the one great thing about America, right? I think is that we shouldn't just say this, oh yeah, there's nothing we can do. Obviously, right? The countries that are fully banned, countries that are currently fully banned or partially banned, right? They are, folks on these countries that are currently in the United States, right? They are, trying to file lawsuits, trying to sue the administration. Those are some of the steps immigrant can take here. And I think also, just try to call your various representative, see how best they can, whether Republican or Democrat. I think we need to engage the system as an immigrant community. For too long, sometimes we just sit on the sideline and say these things don't affect us. And so when it comes, it really, really does affect us, right? It's like when we come in this country, it's understandable sometimes, right? The basic life, working, trying to take care of your family, trying to take care of family back home, you know, trying to juggle so many things. And so we don't pay attention to like maybe politics. We see politics is not for us. But these politicians are making decisions that are kind of affecting our immigrant community. I mean, it's like immigrants from all over. I mean, from the Caribbean, from South America, from Africa, especially from Africa, where this administration is very, very coming hard against, African immigrants, folks from South America, Mexico, and things like that. It's like the administration is really, really coming hard against folks from these countries and things like that. So I think we as an immigrant community, right? We cannot just sit on the sideline anymore, folks. We need to get involved. We need to get involved. Whether politically, it's like, we need to be engaged. We cannot just sit on the sideline. We need to be engaged. We need to be involved because the next thing you might know, as it says, like they have potential, they have 36 countries that are about to be either partially or fully banned if they don't put their act together. Who knows? I mean, what is a yardstick, right? What do they need? What do they actually need to do not to be fully or partially banned? You know what I mean? Things like that. It's like there's so many factors that go into that, right? And a Trump might get it tomorrow or maybe 60 days from now and say, you know what, doesn't matter. I'm just going to ban all of them, or, fully ban all of them or partially ban all of them. So what can we do as an immigrant community? Folks, we need to get engaged. We cannot sit on the sideline anymore. We cannot be complacent. We need to call our elected representatives, engage each one of us to kind of, if you have passion for politics, go into it, man. Run for, your city council, run for your school boards, run for city mayors, get involved, man. We need to get involved. We need to get involved. Other than that, it's like, I said, there's so much negative energy right now against immigrants. It's like the administration, when it comes to their immigration policy, they are just flooding the zone, banning immigrants here and there, cracking down and things like that. And, so it is, I think, since the administration came into power, it's a tough time to be an immigrant, whether you are legal, you are a citizen, you are a permanent resident. I think we are all under attack, folks. We are all under attack. Immigrants are under attack, in this country right now. And it's sad, you know what I mean? It's sad. It is very, very sad to see, you know, America going through such a thing right now. But that's the environment we live in, right? That's the environment we live in. I think personally, I hope the administration can sometimes consider some of these things because I just don't get it. Why are you banning? Why are you looking at 12 countries and just banning them, from coming to the U.S. and then partially banning another seven and then thinking about banning like 36 countries? It's just unimaginable, folks. Why? you know. And then with the harsh immigration crackdown, it's like, I mean, trying to arrest 3,000 people a day, that's not is I mean, that's not a small number. A lot of folks, right, could be caught up, into that kind of a mess. Get deported if you don't have a lawyer to fight your case. It might be a fiasco for you and things like that. So that's what we are discussing tonight, folks. We are discussing the travel ban 2.0, Trump travel ban 2.0. That went into effect on June 9. He signed the executive order on June 4th, and the travel ban went into effect on June 9. It's been in effect since then. I think for the 12 countries that are fully banned, they cannot get immigrant visa or non-immigrant visa. Nothing. No visa of any kind are being issued in these 12 countries. For the countries that are partially banned, the seven countries that are partially banned, they cannot get tourist visa, business visitors, and things like that, right? They cannot get tourist visa, student visa, tourists, and things like that. And then for the countries that are, you know, um, for the 12 countries that are banned, nothing. Can you imagine? Like, be trying to come to America, I mean, the refugee first, the first thing the administration kind of attacked was the refugee, situation. So it's like since I think January, right, or February or whatever, the whole refugee program has been paused. So that went through the window way back in January. And then now with this is that it just keep expanding. They just keep, expanding the net, just keep expanding the net, what I mean, over and over and over. That's the current environment we live in, folks. I feel immigrants are under attack and we need to do something about it. Immigrants all over this country, all over. Immigrants in the 50 states plus the territories. We need to do something about it, especially we that are fortunate, that have legal status, citizens, permanent resident green card holders. We need to do something about it, man. We need to tell our story, right? We need to shine a positive light on the immigrant experience because I think most immigrants contribute immensely to this country, especially the new generation of immigrants, right? It's like working on the farms, working in hotels. If you travel this country, those that clean the hotel room, those that clean these places, man, mostly immigrants. If you work in corporate offices, folks that clean these places, they are immigrants. Okay, they are immigrants that are the one doing these dirty jobs that folks think ordinary Americans might take it. No, it is immigrants that are doing these jobs. Why is there so much negativity towards the immigrant? I mean, towards the immigrant community in this country right now? Why? How did that come about? I think because we as an immigrant community, right? We're sitting on the sideline. We are not telling our story. We are not, and that's what we try to do. That's what we try to do here at Inner Circle Podcast, to amplify, to empower, and to elevate the immigrant voice. If we don't do that, if we keep sitting on the sideline and don't do that, things might get worse, folks. It might not only be travel ban anymore. If you have an accent like me, someone must stop you and say, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Even though you're a citizen, but hey, you know, things might get worse. I mean, like the whole birthright citizenship. That is something right now. The U.S. Supreme Court is considering. There's so many angles that the administration is coming with things. When it comes to immigrants. So I think we need to rise up. We need to speak up. We need to shine our eyes that, hey, man, things are not right. As I said, as an immigrant, no matter my political view, I feel like we immigrants, we are under attack right now, and we need to do something about it. It is not only the travel ban, right? This travel ban, it is, you might say, oh yeah, I don't have folks from those 12 countries, or I don't have folks from those seven countries that are partially banned. But again, there might be, there are potential 36 countries that might be banned, right? Potentially, sometime this August, that might come into effect. And with Trump don't doubt that man, man. They say because sometimes, it's like when he say he's going to do something, sometimes he might say, oh yeah, he's not going to do it. But sometimes, man, he goes through what he said he's going to do. So these are the things we need to consider as an immigrant community, folks. We cannot sit on the sideline anymore because there are many in our community that are facing new wave of anxiety, frustration and fear. There's fear all over this country. Like there are stories where in like you go in like if you go in Latino heavy communities or like other like other immigrant communities, folks are not coming to work. They are afraid of ICE. They are afraid that they might get raided. You know what I mean, and things like that. No one's going to talk for us if we don't talk for ourselves. If we don't speak for ourselves. If we don't advocate for ourselves. Those are the things we need to do. We cannot be in this country and then maybe just work and not contributing to the national discourse, right? Not contributing, not doing anything. We need to support one another to get into politics. We need to advocate for, we need to tell the immigrant story, folks. We need to tell the immigrant story because right now it could be a travel ban today. It might be birthright citizenship tomorrow, right? It might like start cracking down. All of us, okay, so long you're not born here, hey, you know what I mean? We might come after you. What's gonna stop them? What's gonna stop them? You might say, oh yeah, that's not gonna happen, but who knows? Who knows, right? So to my Somalian brothers, and sisters, man, is like, to folks from Congo, folks from Equatorial Guinea, Libya, Sudan, especially Sudan. Sudan is going through the terrible, terrible civil war. And now none of their folks, right, cannot come to a refugee program or anything like that. You know, these are sad situation, folks. It's a sad, sad situation. You know, we need to speak up. You need to call your representative as an immigrant, man. We need to rally around our fellow immigrant, man, to say that is not right. You know, America should not be doing this, right? That's the current environment we live in. But no one, okay, no one's going to speak for us if we don't speak for ourselves. So, so folks, that is your beloved Inner Circle podcast. Tonight we are discussing the new travel ban, Trump 2.0 travel ban that went into effect on June 9. He issued it on June 4th, right? He signed a proclamation on June 4th, and this thing went into effect on June 9. It is kind of a flying under the radar because with Trump, right? The current administration, there's so much going on. We live in a world right now where there's so much going on. There's now you have the Iranian and the Israeli civil war that's going on. You have Ukraine, Russia. You have things going on here. You have the immigration race. Like there's so much going on around the world. Sometimes some of these things just kind of a fly under the radar, right? So, but this travel ban went into effect on June 9. And since then, right, folks from these 12 countries, none of them from Afghanistan, from Chad, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, from Equatorial Guinea, from Eritrea, from Haiti, Haiti that is right here, and not even allowing them to come here, from Iran, from Libya, from Myanmar, from Somalia, from Sudan, from Yemen. None of these folks can come to America right now, whether on immigrant or not immigrant visa. They are not issuing any visa in these countries. Their citizens are not allowed to come to America. And partially, you have Burundi, you have Cuba, you have Laos, you have Sierra Leone, you have Togo, you have Turkmenistan, you have Venezuela. Togo is on that list. You know, it's like no one is like if you're a tourist trying to come to the US from Togo, you cannot come. If you're a student trying to get a student visa from Togo, you cannot, you know. So that's what we are discussing tonight. How is it thing affecting, these citizens? There's a lot of where Minnesota will live, with a lot of Somalians, a lot of Somali immigrants here, and we are working on bringing the head of the Somalian community here on this show just to talk about the impact on his community, to talk about the impact. There are a lot of, local Somalian elected leaders here in Minnesota. We are working on bringing them on the show, right? Just to talk about the impact that it's having on their communities. Imagine like having folks back home, they cannot come to America. You're fighting for them on your own, you know. It's like it's so sad, right? It's like this thing is having real life impact. It's having consequences on many families. It's like families might be separated for however long this thing stay in effect, right? Families will be separated. You are not, they cannot travel. Even folks, right? Those even with green card, you might be afraid to go back home to visit your family because you never know, right? You feel like, guy, if I go back and try to come back, they might stop me. So it's tough, you know. You know. Yes, Jim Setter. With this, so to answer that question, even when you are sending for someone, the 12 countries that are banned, you send from someone, they cannot, you know, is like because they're not issuing like when you're filing from someone, right? Basically, normally, if a person maybe is your fiance, your wife, or your kid, normally it will be immigrant visa. They will issue an immigrant visa, but they are not issuing any immigrant or non-immigrant visa. The only exception they are having is like, okay, if you already have a green card, right? If you already have a green card, right? Or maybe if the World Cup is going to be happening here next year into that in 2026, if you are from one of these countries and you have a visa to come for the World Cup, your athlete they can allow you to come. But the 12 countries that are banned, totally, there's no immigrant visa and non-immigrant visa. They cannot come here. It's like folks on these 12 countries. And then for the countries that are partially banned, mainly what is affecting them, right? Folks that are in those 7 countries that are partially banned, you can actually file in from someone for that. From that country, right? These countries, you can file from someone from there, right? But they cannot come on tourist visa or student exchange, right? So anyone from Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, imagine Sierra Leone, man, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela, you can file for folks from these countries, but they cannot come on tourist visa, even business visa, and things like that, or student, or anything like that, right? But you can actually file in from someone. But now, with folks from the 12 countries that are fully banned, nope, no way, you cannot. So it's really, really sad to say this thing is having real life consequences, real life consequences. And then potentially, right, if they expand it to the 36 countries, mainly, most of these countries are from Africa, right? If they expand it to this list, Egypt, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, Senegal, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, Gabon, Cameroon, Djibouti, Ivory Coast, Malawi, Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania. There are other countries from like the Caribbean and South America, that are also on the potential list, the potential 36 countries, right? But most of the countries are in Africa, man. So you wondering, guys, is like, what is going on here? What is going on here? Yeah. So folks from the 12 countries I was talking about, they cannot get any immigrant visa, not at all. No immigrant or non-immigrant visa from those 12 countries. They cannot. You know, those that are partially banned from the 7 countries like Sierra Leone, if you have a relative or family member in Sierra Leone, you can actually file in for them, right? You can't file in for them for an immigrant visa. They can get an immigrant visa. But when it comes to tourist visa, let's assume like, hey, someone living in Sierra Leone, like you want to come and visit your family here, they cannot. Right now, they are not issuing you a tourist visa. They are not issuing tourist visa in Sierra Leone. They are not issuing student visa in Sierra Leone. But they are issuing immigrant visa. If you file for your relative, they are still issuing immigrant visa. But who knows? They might the 7 countries that are on that list might move from 7 to potentially, you know what I mean, or they might move from the partial list to the full, to the fully banned list. And then the scary part is, right, is that you have a lot of these other countries, right, these 36 potential countries, most of them mainly from Africa. As an African immigrant, I think we should be concerned here. Is okay, why are they targeting mainly African immigrants? Sometimes too, right? Yeah, some of these countries have problems, you know what I mean? Things like that. They have issues or situations they need to work on. But just targeting mainly countries from Africa is kind of a concerning. As an African immigrant, I feel like, okay, what's going on here, right? Is that you can't tell me that All of these countries, man, got like all the problem when it comes to maybe like visa overstays or tourism. Tourism is like most of the countries are from Africa. I mean, it's like you can't. It's hard to convince me on that, right? I know we know some of these countries are poor. We know some of them have their own issues, and things like that. But just to target them like that, is hard to imagine that and stuff like that. So I hope, and as all immigrants, we hope, right, that the administration need to consider some of these policies. And it's up to us, though, right? We as an immigrant community to also step up. Some of us have been blessed to be here, but not because we are here, we should just sit on the sideline and not participate and not advocate for some of the things that are affecting us. Because I mean, I've said it since January. I've been saying it since January, right? I feel like currently when you are immigrating in America, it's like you are under attack. Immigrants in this country, it feels like we are under attack, right? As I said, the harsh immigration policies, the crackdown is like, I mean, imagine, as I said, ICE has been mandated, right? They have been ordered to arrest 3,000 people a day, 3,000 folks, 3,000 people. It's not small human beings, right? To arrest every day. So anybody could get caught up in that mess, right? And some of the things the administration is trying to do, right? If you currently have an illegal status, if you're here illegal, the whether criminal record or not, when they grab you, if your country of origin is not willing to accept you, they can send you anywhere. I mean, it's like I read a story the other day. They sent some Chinese to South Sudan. Can you some Chinese immigrants, right? They deported them to South Sudan, and things like that. So those are some of the things is that the administration is, as I said, they are doing everything in their toolbox, right? They are doing everything, doing everything they can to really, really come down hard on immigrants. So I feel like the immigrant community in the United States right now is under attack. Whether you're a legal immigrant, whether you're a citizen, you're a permanent resident. I think, man, we need to start raising our voice. We need to start amplifying our voice. We need to start speaking up that it is not right, calling our elected representatives because we are paying taxes here. We are contributing to the society. I'm not saying some immigrants are not doing, what I mean? It's like if you commit crime and you come here, you commit crime and you want to go in over your head and do the wrong thing, hey, it's fair game, right? You should be deported, right? If you break the laws and you are found guilty, what I mean? I think like they should go after hardcore criminals, but now they are going after everyone and anyone. And it's sad. It's sad, but it's up to us as immigrant. It's up to the immigrant community to try to, to start speaking up. If we don't, things might get worse, right? No one's going to help us. No one's going to speak for us in this situation, folks. No one. Looking at Minnesota, right, when it comes to the travel ban, you have a huge East African immigrant community here, the Somalians, Ethiopia, Eritrea. These are the three countries right here in Minnesota that is heavily being affected by this. And my own country, Liberia, right, is one of those countries potentially that might be on the list. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Nigeria might be potentially on the list, of the, come early August, if whatever condition the administration is giving them, if they don't meet those conditions, they might be put either on a partial list or on a full ban list, which is sad, folks. Sad, sad, sad. But that's the environment we live in. Those are the situation we are facing. And that's what every night, we bring conversation like this to you to raise awareness, to try to raise awareness that, hey, man, these things are happening sometimes because our community, right, is like no one's going to speak for us. And that's why we here in a Cycle Packet, we are decided, right, to amplify, to empower and elevate the immigrant voice. I feel that sometimes I'm wondering, like, it's like, as I said, I've been saying this for the last couple of months, that there's so much negative energy, right, towards immigrants in this country right now. And sometimes, like, you don't blame the folks, though, right? It's like no one is telling our story. Some of us said all we want to focus on is, we want to focus on work, parties and all the other gossip, but things that are really, really affecting our life, we are not focused on it. I mean, this travel ban is it seems like it's kind of a just under the radar right now. Under the radar, right? It's like it's not being reported on much, right? Because you don't. I mean, the mainstream media is not going to be put on this thing much, right? Because I said the administration, when it comes to their policies, they are just flooding the zone. I mean, every day you wake up is different thing. It's like right now the whole focus is the issue and the Iran war. Tomorrow you work out is going to be something different. It's like so they are flooding the zone. So things that are having real life impact, affecting families, separating families, things that are affecting future generations, right? There are kids in refugee camps right now. Maybe that some of them were just about to come, they cannot. Like Afghanistan help the United States during that 20 years of civil war. All of these folks right now cannot come to the US. Anyone as an Afghan citizen, you cannot, come to the United States either on an immigrant or non-immigrant visa. So as an immigrant community, folk, we need to start speaking up. We cannot just sit on the sideline and wish that things would just go away. It's not going to go away. I feel like, as I said, the negative narrative, it might feel that it is only Trump, but right now, Trump, his most popular policy is immigration. That's where he's getting his highest mark, immigration. You want to know, okay, what is it about immigration that, why is there so much negative, negativity towards, I mean, the immigrant community? Why? Because if you always have these, if you have immigrants in the news all the time about, immigration rates, about travel ban, people feel that, okay, all immigrants are bad. But no, no, man. I mean, I think immigrants have contributed immensely to this country. Immigrants have done a lot, for this country. And if you travel America, all those folks are been in the hotels. Some of them hardly speak English. Okay. Immigrants doing the dirtiest of work in this country. They are in the meat packing, doing in factories, on farms, in these very hotels, in the corporate offices, cleaning. And then now it's like they are just raiding them left and right. It's like left and right, raiding them, things like that. So it is a sad situation, but no one is going to come to our rescue except we start speaking up, start advocating for ourselves, start saying enough is enough. We are here paying taxes, we are here contributing to the society. Obviously the bad apples must go, but not everyone is doing that, right? It's like, I mean, the first thing was they are only going after criminals, but now, as I said, if you listen to the news, if you follow um, their their proclamations, their executive orders, anyone, everyone, anyone, they are just going after anyone and everyone, which is sad, right? But that's the current situation. That's the environment we live in, right? So the other thing is about this travel ban, right? Most of the countries that are on this travel ban, they are from poor countries, black or brown countries, right? Sometimes you wonder about that. Okay, so everybody from Africa, so all the African countries, I mean, having folks that are coming here, either that are overstaying, you know, how is the visa ban? How is this travel ban, going to affect the global community right now? Right? How is it going to solve any problem? To me, I don't see what problem, or what solution this travel ban is trying to get at. It's just hard to imagine that. I hope Liberia, right, doesn't, end up on this list. I pray that folks, the countries that are on this list, might find a way to get off. But I mean, you feel for your fellow immigrant community, right, that are going through this, right? As I said, someone from Somalia cannot send for their family on an immigrant or non-immigrant visa, not at all. No, not at all, folks. Imagine that, not at all. And the sad thing is, many of the countries that are on that list, right, they are going through civil war. Like Sudan, Sudan is going through the vicious civil war. Some of the poor folks in that country have nothing to do with that civil war. They just need to get out and get away, but they can't. They cannot seek refuge in a place, a great country like America, because their citizens are on that list. Are on that list of 12 countries that are fully banned from coming here. So folks, this is what we have been discussing tonight. The travel ban 2.0, Trump 2.0 travel ban, the new travel ban. The executive order was signed on June 4th and went into effect on June 9th, affecting 12 countries that are fully banned from coming to America, and then 7 countries that are partially banned, including Sierra Leone and Togo, two countries that kind of are dear to my heart a little bit, and things like that. Citizens from those countries, they cannot get a tourist visa or student visa or business visa to come to America. If you are in Sierra Leone or Togo, you want to visit America, you cannot. On a tourist visa, you cannot. However, your family can still file in for you because you are partially banned. The other thing, the other fear, or the other thing that is creating, right? I talked about it earlier. If you are a green card holder trying to visit Sierra Leone, you might be thinking, hey, what is it going to do, right? Is it going to affect me if I'm coming back? An immigration officer is going to stop me. You know, a lot of Somalians right now, right? It's like I was listening to a show the other day. A lot of Somalians saying this went into effect are afraid to travel, right? A lot of Somalians are very, very afraid to travel right now because, citizens and the Somalians are fully banned from, coming to America either on an immigrant or non-immigrant visa. That's the current environment. Trump 2.0 travel ban, it is in full effect. Right now it's only affecting 12 countries that are fully banned, 7 countries that are partially banned. And then by early August, they might determine, right? They have put in 36 extra countries on notice. They are monitoring them right now. They are giving them certain conditions to meet. If they don't meet them by early August, those countries will be on that list, right? They might either be fully banned or partially banned. You know, that's the environment we live in right now. Immigrants, the immigrant community, folks, we are under attack. What is the call to action here tonight for our community? I think we shouldn't just sit back and accept the norm, right? We shouldn't just accept the status quo. We should try to do something about it as a community. Speak up. My only thing is, right, if you're trying to maybe protest this, protest, do it peacefully. And as I said here yesterday, right, we should not resort to violence. The one great thing about America, we can have you can call your elected representatives, right? You can reach out like I'm here, right? I'm in Minnesota. We have Senator Amy Klobuchar or Senator Tina Smith. You have Kelly Morrison, Representative Kelly Morrison. You have Ihan Omar. You can reach out to these folks, man, and say, hey, Representative Tom Emmer, reach out to your elected representatives. Say, man, what is happening? What are Democrat, Republican? Reach out to them. So what is happening right now? It's not right. Advocate. We as an immigrant community, we cannot just sit back and accept this as a norm to say, oh yeah, it's okay. Or the administration know what they are doing. Because I feel with immigrants, we are under attack, folks. They are cracking down on they said on immigrants all over this country, going to hotels, going to schools, raiding schools. What's up with that? You know, what's up with that? So we cannot just sit back and accept it as a norm. We need to speak up, call your elected representative, speak out. We need to educate each other like I'm doing here, like we are doing here tonight on the Inner Circle podcast, right? It's like we need to. These are conversations we are not having in our community. As I said, the whole travel ban feel like it's just being swept under the rug, right? It's just kind of under the radar. Under the radar. We are not talking about it much in our various communities. They say, oh, it's Somalia, people, folks from Somalia, folks from the Democratic Republic of Congo, those are the folks that's affecting, or folks from Sierra Leone or Togo. But we are immigrant folks. Who knows, right? It is them today, it could be us tomorrow. And so we all need to rally around each other and do the best we can to change the whole negative energy, the whole negative narrative around the immigrant experience, man. I think immigrants contribute tremendously to this country. Immigrants do a lot for this country. If you travel America again, I'm saying this, the hotels, you know, immigrants are the one cleaning those hotels. Corporate offices, immigrants, majority are the one cleaning those corporate offices. You know, on our farms, various farms in this country, dominated by immigrants. You know, the factories, healthcare, a lot of immigrants in healthcare, right, providing vital services. And yet, it's just so much negative energy, so much negativity, so much the immigrants are this, immigrants are that. When immigration is always in the news, man, no matter whether you're legal resident or permanent resident or citizen, so then you're immigrant, it kind of affecting you, right? It is affecting our psyche. Because to me, it's like, dude, I'm wondering, okay, why? Why all this, negativity towards immigrants, right? It is not directly affecting me, but right now, right, if you look at it, when immigration or immigrants are always in the news, I feel like, okay, it is something that, you know, it is dear to my heart. It's close to us, you know, banning 12 countries, fully banning 12 countries from coming to America, either on an immigrant or non-immigrant visa. For what? Who knows, right? The first time they said it was, they were banning folks from mainly majority Muslim countries, but now it's like anyone can get on that list. Anyone, come August, come early August, you know, 36 more countries will be on that list or might be on that list. And the majority of them are from Africa, which is sad, right? Some of them from the Caribbean, you know, it's sad, folks. So we cannot just sit on the sideline and not get involved. We need to get involved. We need to speak up. We need to call our elected representative. We need to educate each other about what is going on currently in America around the whole immigrant experience. This country has been good to many of us. We cannot just sit on the sideline and say, hey, this is the norm, right? It is not the norm. I don't think this is the norm. I have been here, and stuff like that. It's like the whole compassion towards immigrants, as George Bush used to say, as a compassionate conservative, right? The like of George Bush, the advocate for immigrants, right? They wanted immigrants to come here. Obviously, it has to be done legally, you know, but to just vilify all immigrants, immigration is bad, all immigrants are bad, just wrong, right? Banning folks from coming here legally, I think it's not right. That's not the right way to do it, right? And then putting another 36 country on notice that, hey, if you don't get your act together, whatever the ad is, right? If you don't get your act together, we're going to ban citizens from your country from coming here. You know, these are scary times, but as I've said here over the last couple of episodes, that I still believe in the promise of America. I think this country is still great. It's just that we as immigrants, we need to speak for ourselves. We need to advocate for ourselves more. We need to get involved. We need to speak up. We need to educate ourselves, like we are doing here on the Inner Circle podcast tonight. We should stop sitting on the sideline and feels like other folks are going to tell our story. We need to start telling the positive story, right? All the contribution immigrants are making to this country. As I said, we got a lot of immigrants working in healthcare, nurses, doctors, you know, immigrant creating businesses in this country. And yet we are not telling our story, folks. We are just letting other people speak for us, right? So, oh, immigrants are bad. You know what I mean? There's too many immigrants coming, messing up our cities. They are invading. It's like calling the invasion, right? And things like that. I don't think that's right. But no one's going to tell our story except us, and we need to start opening our eyes to that. So again, call to action. Hey, don't sit back. Get involved. Do something to change the narrative. Do something, folks. Can do better. I think immigrants are contributing a lot to this country. Uh, and we just need to start telling our story. Just needs to start pushing back on the whole negativity and say, hey, man, it is not right. We are doing a lot to contribute to this country. So that's the message I want to leave you with. That's the call to action, folks. Don't sit on the sideline. This America, don't sit on the sideline. Get involved. Do something. Because it might be 12 countries that are banned today and 7 countries that are partially banned. But this thing, man, the way it's going, if we don't do something about it, right, is like, I feel, as I said, immigrants are under assault, immigrants are under attack, and and we gotta all speak up, get up and speak up and do something about it. So thank you so much for joining the conversation tonight. It is the Inner Circle podcast. It's a growing community. We bring the topics here to kind of just educate, amplify, empower, and elevate the immigrant voice. The positive story, this and what I mean, and things like that. So thank you so much for joining tonight. It's been a great show. This week we have a great lineup for you. Hopefully some of my panelists will be back here with me. And then on Thursday we have Representative Nakita Ricks from the great state of Colorado is going to be joining us to talk about her journey. She's an immigrant right now. She's a state representative in the great state of Colorado. So she will be joining us here on Thursday, you know. And then also, folks, please continue to keep Minnesota in your prayers. Yesterday I talked about Representative Melissa Hardman and her husband got murdered, and Senator John Hoffman and his wife, they are still in the hospital. So please continue to keep Minnesota in your prayers. Continue to keep folks in your prayers, folks. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great conversation. Thank you for supporting Inner Circle Podcast. We hope you can continue to support us, to follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook. It's a growing community where we're going to continue to amplify, to empower, and elevate the immigrant voice. It is necessary. We need to do it. No one's going to do it for us. We need to do it for ourselves. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And you all have a good tomorrow.